Welcome to the next episode of the VSP podcast. Today I'm going to have Coach Matt Salmon of Commack Baseball on. Really excited to dive into it. He's also going to be a presenter at our Baseball Performance Summit, which is going to be Saturday, November 22nd, 9 a.m. here at VSP. If you're interested in coming, please click the link in the bio. We'll see you there. Let's jump in. All right, thanks for coming on, Matt.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to talk about it. I mean, I've known you for a while, and every single time we talk, you're always, going over, the mental side of baseball, and I know that's going to be what you're going to be discussing at the Performance Summit. Why don't you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, how you got into baseball, your journey, and that type of stuff.
Yeah. Baseball, I played baseball my entire life. Like a lot of people my age, I'm, late 40s. We grew up playing Little League around the Little League fields. I have an older brother.
What town are you from?
From Commack. I grew up in Commack.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So my brother and I were just, we'd always play baseball. We played baseball, basketball, and soccer growing up. We both ended up playing both soccer and baseball in high school.
Got it.
We both ended up playing Division I college baseball.
Nice.
And I think it was just, he's older than me. He was always pushing me. At one point, I think when we were probably like 12 or 13, my father had enough and he just went outside and built us a batting cage in the backyard.
Oh, nice.
It was in the 80s. They didn't sell them like that. He went out there and built it, bought a jugs machine.
Oh, wow.
That thing broke probably 6 months after we got it. And then it was just me and my brother throwing to each other in the backyard every day, working on stuff. So we learned a lot on our own. We didn't have hitting lessons. There weren't hitting coaches back then. They probably were, but either we couldn't afford it or we just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And then we just, both went on to play in high school. He played at West Point. I played at Stony Brook.
Nice.
After Stony Brook, I played one season in Australia, which was a wonderful experience.
That's cool.
And then after that, I kind of came back and just kind of got right into coaching,
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little about, high school ball, your experience with, did you play like any travel leagues? Were you going away like, Diamond Nation or any of that? Does that even exist?
No, there was no Diamond Nation.
Okay.
When we played travel ball in the summer, it was travel ball, but we just kind of called it summer ball. Like we're playing summer ball, right? I played for the Long Island Cardinals for most of my time. We went away. I remember we went somewhere once. We went to like Ohio or something for a tournament, but otherwise it was just local guys playing against each other. And I think one of the main differences was you used to get recruited out of high school.
Yeah.
You didn't really get recruited out of travel ball back then.
Got it.
And travel ball was awesome. It was play to win, man. Those are some of the most fun times I had, playing travel ball.
Now, how did you get recruited by Stony Brook? Like, did they come to a game? Like, how did that even happen? Because there was no film, right?
No, there was no film.
Was there even VHSs back then? I don't even know what it was.
No.
They're rolling it.
Yeah, I was offered to play soccer out of high school at Northwestern.
Okay.
And I got soured by soccer. I didn't love soccer. You know what I mean? I guess I was decent at it, but I never really had the love for it that I had for baseball.
Yeah.
So I was good. I was gonna play soccer in college and be done with baseball.
Yeah.
And then I remember it was the summer. It was after my senior year. I remember Coach Sank came to see me play.
It sank wasn't he just?
He just retired. Yeah.
Holy cow.
This is the first year that he won't be the head coach at Stony Brook. So this was 1997. A former player, a guy named Greg Foster, graduated the year before me from Commack, and Greg went to Stony Brook.
Got it.
All right. So Greg and I grew up. We played Little League together. We played high school baseball together, and we ended up playing college baseball together. And
Got it.
Coach Sank must have talked to Greg or whatever, and Coach Sank came to see me play in the Suffolk County Championship and the Long Island Championship. And I remember both times he told me afterwards that I stole a base one time when somebody wasn't looking, and he didn't care about my playing ability. He liked my headiness. He liked my understanding of the game.
Yep.
And I remember it was after senior year. I was going to go to Wagner College to play baseball because I had an offer to go play at Wagner or Fairfield or Stony Brook. And I called Coach Sank and I was like, hey, I don't have a summer team this summer. Do you know of any local summer teams? And I remember he was like, well, the Stony Brook team, our college team, we're playing in the Woodbat, which is now probably like the ACBL. But back then it was just a college summer league. We're playing in the summer league. Listen, I can get you on that team, but I'm sure the guys would much rather play with someone who's coming to Stony Brook than someone who's going to Wagner.
Correct.
So I was like, all right, I'll go to Stony Brook, right? And then he gave me, not a lot of money, but I got a little offer. I got a little money. And that's how I committed to Stony Brook. It was the summer before my freshman year of college.
Okay.
It was all very like, hey, I'll play on the summer team if I go to college here,
Yeah.
And that's how it happened.
It's crazy. It's funny. Recruiting now is it's a totally different
Completely
landscape.
different. It's out of control.
It is. But all right, so how did you make the transition from player to coach? Like, what was that step like? Because obviously you're a PE teacher at Commack. Like, how did that all happen?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think I just loved the game. I love the headiness of the game.
Yeah.
I love the thinking about the game. When I was done playing, I didn't have enough. I wanted to keep being involved.
Yeah.
I remember my friends were all playing in men's softball leagues. A couple played in like actual baseball leagues. This might sound like it was just too easy. I was like, I'm not playing softball. I had just finished playing college baseball, and I'm like, I'm not going to go out there.
No.
And I'm not trying. I'm not into that.
Yeah.
And I had a great coach when I played JV baseball at Commack, a guy by the name of Kevin Sharamita. He coaches upstate in Albany now. And he was just such an inspiration to me about the things that he told us when I was in 9th and 10th grade. And I stayed in touch with him. And I ended up coaching summer ball with him as like his assistant when I was like, even when I was in college, like when I was playing summer league, I was coaching with him on the side. And I loved the interaction with helping kids get better, helping kids get recruited. It was something that I thought I would really have a passion.
Yeah. Now, did you always coach at Commack, or where did you?
No.
Where did you start off?
No. So when was it? It was 2012. I was going through some personal stuff in my life. I was actually about to get divorced, and I was living upstate in Orange County.
Okay.
And I had to come back down to Long Island, and I reached out to Ed Ball, who was the head coach at Commack. Yep. And he was, when I was in high school, he was just a first-year teacher. We didn't really have much of a relationship, but he was the JV baseball coach when I was on Varsity. Yeah. So I was like, hey, I'm finishing my degree in teaching. I want to get into coaching. Do you have anything? And he was like, yeah, I need an assistant coach. So I became his assistant coach for 1 year in 2012. Then I got hired to teach phys ed at Eastport South Manor.
Okay.
So in 2013, I was the head coach of Eastport South Manor. In 2014, I was the head coach at Eastport South Manor baseball. And then I got accessed from ESM, right? Okay. And I remember the athletic director was like, listen, you can stay and you can sub, and I still want you to be the varsity baseball coach. But I had a daughter, I had a 2-year-old daughter at that time, and I was like, that's just not enough money for me. Yeah. So I went and got a job in Brooklyn.
Okay. So you went from one end?
Yeah. So then I started coaching baseball and soccer in Brooklyn, and then basketball. That was from 2014 to 2017. And then in 2017, when Brian Bonner got hired to coach Commack, he and Mr. Friel, our athletic director, both independently reached out to me and asked me if I was available to be Brian's assistant. Brian had never coached before. He was a player who was trying to get into coaching, and he was about to get a Commack varsity baseball job, which was a pretty big job.
That's crazy. Okay, I didn't know that.
And like, he's never coached. He was a volunteer assistant last year. Yeah. Like, he's young, but Mr. Friel knew me, and I was good friends with Brian, and they both called me, and I was like, listen, I can be your assistant, but I work in Brooklyn. I can't get there till 3:30. Yeah. And they were both like, that's all right. Just come here at 3:30. Yeah. And then it worked out,
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, talk about the state of baseball today. Obviously very different, than it was, 20, 30 years ago. Like, what do you notice, like, from when you were in high school to what high school baseball is like now? Like, what are some of the biggest differences?
I think they're better. Like, I think their skills are better. Yeah. I think they're bigger. I think they're faster. I think they're stronger. I think their general baseball knowledge has dropped significantly. I think the pitching is way worse than when I was in high school. You'll have your one-offs, right? There's a couple of guys on Long Island who are really good, right? We all kind of know who they are. Guys have gotten drafted over the last couple of years. Now, those guys are exceptional, right? I'm talking about the middle-of-the-road guys, the everyday guys that you see. When I was growing up, man, I mean, we faced a guy every game that was bringing it. That was good. That was competitive. That knew how to pitch, tough. I think there's less of that, right? And I think there's just less, maybe like situational awareness or instinctual baseball. I think a lot of the stuff that when I was growing up, that was more like second nature to us. I think it has to be taught. I think a lot of it has to be spoken about, and it can't just be glazed over. Like anything from base running to situational defense to what you should be doing in the on-deck circle, right? I mean, that stuff isn't innate to players anymore. But they can swing better than us. They hit the ball harder than us. They hit it further than us. They run faster than us. They probably have better hands than we did. But I think the nitty-gritty of the competing, what it takes to have like inner drive to win, I think that's dropped a little bit.
Now, do you think that starts, at the the little league level? Like, why do you think that's happening?
Listen, I have 4 children. 3 of them are daughters, and 1 son.
God bless.
Yeah, they're young. Well, one of them's 16 from my first marriage. She lives with her mother, and she plays varsity volleyball, but she's not. I mean, athletics are not her huge thing, right? And then my other 3 kids are 7, 8, and 10. My son is the 10-year-old. He plays soccer. None of them play baseball, right? Okay. The other ones dance. My youngest one's 7. She's a badass. Like, she'll cut you. She's awesome. I think she has instinctual drive. But what I'm getting at is I'm not in youth baseball. I don't go to the athletic fields of youth baseball all the time. But I do think the lack of understanding of like what I'll call like instinctual competitiveness or like prediction or performance in big moments, I'm guessing, but as my belief that it comes from specialized sports at too young of an age. I call them competitive reps, right? We live in the Northeast. Yeah. If you're specializing in baseball, you are getting as many swings as you want in a batting cage. You're getting as many reps as you want off a pitching mound. You're getting as many ground balls as you want. You're in VSP working out. You're getting big, you're getting strong, you're getting fast. Yep. What you're not doing is understanding what it's like to be down 3 on the free throw line with 2 seconds left, right? Or 3rd and goal and you're down 6 points. Yep. You're not getting competitive reps because you're inside. You're not playing in big moment situations. And I think you learn how to compete as an entire athlete from playing different things and putting yourself in competitive situations. And sure, you can compete with yourself in here. You can go for your PR. You can go for your personal best. You can go for all this. But if you're not competing against someone who's trying to stop you, who's trying to compete against you at the same level, I don't think you get those competitive reps. And I don't think you get the feeling of disappointment and the feeling of I accomplished it. Yeah. So I think it comes down to being specialized in any sport too early.
Yeah. So obviously we had Charles on a couple weeks ago, and he brought up a cool moment I guess he had with you that he remembers, to this day.
That was really cool that he remembered that.
It was. It was funny. Like when he started saying it, I was like, wow. And it was powerful. It was. I mean, it really meant it. Can you go over, those types of exercises that you do with some of the kids? Maybe you want to talk about that one and why you think that's important?
Yeah. So that one, the one Charles talked about was an exercise with pencils, and he talked about it as one guy breaking, each guy breaking their own individual pencil and then giving each guy a bundle of pencils and talking about how everything in this pile of pencils is some failure that you had and something that essentially makes you stronger because now we're a big bundle, right? There's another way that I do that same exercise and it has a little bit of a different message. It's more team-centric than it is personalized, right? So I'll call like the weakest guy in the room and I'll have one pencil and I'll say, can you break this pencil? And sure enough, he can break it. Yeah. And then they all laugh because he's the weakest guy in the room, right? And then, all right, let me get the second weakest guy. I give him 2 pencils. He can break those. Let me get the third weakest guy. He can break 3 pencils. And then I say, let me get the strongest guy we have here. And usually what I'll do is I'll take somebody that I work with and make sure that they can't break the pencils, right? Like right now it's Augie Contressa. I don't know if you know him, but I'll give him the pencils an hour before I do. And I'll say, Augie, can you break these pencils? And he can't break it, right? So I'll give it to the strongest guy in the locker room and I'll say, can you break these pencils? And he'll try, and he's incapable of breaking the pencils. And the message here is when you're an individual, you can be broken. When you're in small groups, 2, 3 clickies, you can be broken by even the weakest of opponents, right? But when we stick together, and I usually have the same number of pencils as people on the team, right? Yeah. So when we stick together as a group, sure, we can bend, we can fracture, we can take our lumps along the way, but this pile of pencils here represents how unbreakable we are as a unit. And then whoever the strongest guy was, he keeps the pencils in his bag. And then we bring them with us to every game. We pass them around. So he has to give them to someone for the next game. And it becomes like a not a mascot, but it becomes a symbol for us that we use.
Yeah, no,
So
I love it.
that's an exercise that kind of varies on the one I did with Charles.
Yeah,
You know?
no, that's awesome. I mean, it gets kids to think about things differently and not.
Now I can't do it this year because if anyone watches this, they're going to know about it. But I got some other stuff.
You know, when I first met you, you know, you were talking a little bit about your coaching style, and everybody's, you know, obviously going to be different. And you were like, I don't really do too much like teaching a kid how to swing a bat or throw a ball. You really teach them how to play together and be confident and whatnot. You know, which I think is powerful. And obviously at Commack, you're gonna have pretty talented kids coming across the board.
Yeah.
You know, so which is nice. But you know, talk to me about that. Like, what is your coaching style? When a guy talks about Coach Salmon, like what do they typically say?
Man, I hope they say that they know that I love them and they know that I care about them. I think that our job as coaches is to allow the players to be the best version of themselves and accept whatever version that is, right? This is something that I learned from Brian Bonin, who passed away in 2022. He had the head coaching job from 2017 to 2021. And before I met Brian, I had been coaching baseball for 15, 20 years, whatever it was. Yeah. And I was harder, I was meaner, I was do it my way. And when I became Brian's assistant, I'm 10 years older than him. He had never coached before. It was the complete opposite of what I was doing. It was Johnny Pullman was a senior on the team that year. It was Brian talking to Johnny. Johnny, what does this team need? Johnny, what are we doing, right? Yeah. I just met these guys a week ago. Bringing seniors in. What do these guys want? Did this work? When I said this, how did this go? And it was like giving ownership to the people on the team who you can trust and who are going to do the right things with that ownership. So the thing I learned from Brian more than anything is if you coach with like genuine care, concern, love, and understanding for the players, I think you'll get so much more out of them than if you just yell at them and try to make them do it your way. I mean, there are times motivationally where I'll raise my voice. There's very few times where I will yell at somebody for messing up, right? Or for being in the wrong spot, right? Listen, there's mental mistakes and there's physical mistakes. Mental mistakes shouldn't happen. Physical mistakes, I don't think should ever be punished. I really don't. I mean, it's frustrating as hell, but it's about intent, right? Were you in the right spot? Were you trying your best, right? And that's something I learned actually when I was a freshman in college. I remember we had a scoreless inning streak and I was playing short and there was a ball hit to me and I kicked it and the opposing team scored a run and the kid who was pitching on our team was a senior, a guy named Dennis Kelly. I'll never forget it. I went up to him after the inning and I was like, Dennis, man, I'm really sorry. Like I botched that scoreless inning streak and you were on the mound. And Dennis took me by the throat, threw me up against the side of the dugout and said, did you do it on purpose? And I was like, what do you mean did I do it on purpose? He's like, did you make an error on purpose? And I'm like, no. He's like, then don't ever apologize to me for trying to do your best at something. He's like, if you tried your best and you screwed up, that happens. If you tell me you booed that ball on purpose, we're going to have a big problem, right? So, I think right then and there, I learned the lesson of like, okay, intent is as important as the result, I think, And especially with high school kids, man, they're not going to get it right all the time. I don't get it right all the time in my life. Nobody does.
No.
But I think if you let them know that you see what they were doing, you see they tried to do it right, that's it. And I think the other part of my coaching philosophy, like you mentioned before, is like I step back. I say all the time, like, this isn't my program. This wasn't Brian Bonin's program. It wasn't Ed Bowles' program. It wasn't Craig Gordon's program. It wasn't Ken Manfrey's program. These are all Commack programs. This has always been your program as players. And I'm here to support you and guide you and hopefully give you some good information along the way. But it's what you guys make of it, man, And I think we've had some success,
No, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So it's funny, you talk about like trying to mess up. Every time I'm watching a game from like one of the local restaurants or whatnot, and Aaron Judge is up and he swings, misses, strikes out, and everyone's getting mad at him, you suck or whatever, and whoever it is. And I'm always saying, like, obviously they're not trying to strike out. They're not trying to drop a pass. They're not trying to miss a tackle, whatever the case may be. So it's hard, but like for example, right? Aaron Judge was probably one of the, if not the best hitter, this season, obviously, top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
And there was a moment that he was, I think it was 3-2. I think it was against the Blue Jays, and he swung and missed at a pitch that was way out of the zone. And everyone's like, he never does that.
Yeah.
But the anxiety of the playoffs, got to him. So my question is to you, how do you deal with that, right? You have close game, someone's going up there, they're nervous. Like, is there anything you say? Is there anything like, how do you help calm them down? Like, is there any strategies?
Yeah, I mean, I think each player needs something a little different, right? But a word that we use a lot at Commack, first of all, you'll never hear me say the word relax, okay? Because relax is chilling on a beach with a margarita, okay? I don't want you to relax, okay? I want you to compete. Now, competing is different than relaxing, but competing does not come with pressure. Competing does not come with nerves. Competing comes with just doing the thing that you do, right? We talk about this emotional scale a lot at Commack. I'll talk to each team about it, right? It's like, imagine 1 is relaxed, chilling on the beach with a margarita, right? Sounds great. You're relaxed. 10 is you're an absolute psycho, right? So where do we want to be, right? It's incredible that I'm about to say this, but because it's fitting for how ridiculous it is in this time and age. But where you want to be is around a 6 or 7. All right. I know that that's a huge word in the world with kids, but that's where you want to start.
We're going to clip that.
Okay. You want to start at that 6 or 7 area. This way, if something goes bad, right, and you start to get really excited and really amped up, okay, when we talk about it so much that they should be able to recognize themselves in a 6 or 7. They should be able to have something in their memory, something's physical. Sometimes I give them something physical to bring you back to that 6 or 7 within 3 seconds. Right? Conversely, if you start at 8, 9, 10, you have nowhere to go. You're out of your mind, right? So a pitcher in a big moment, when he gets the ball back, he gets himself to 6, gets himself to 7, gets himself maybe on the cusp of 7.5, 8, right? Now he needs to bring it. He needs a big, huge pitch, right? He can allow himself in that moment to expand a little bit, to get a little angry, to get a little amped up, and get in that 8, 9 range. But when you play at that high level of stress on yourself, of like wildness, you don't even know, you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So you need to have composure. A word I'll say all the time is compete, right? And compete is a word that Commack that means get yourself to the emotional level that we've talked about for the last 2 months. You know?
Now, it's funny, a lot of the kids do like velo slaps and things like that. And you see some kids perform better after like whatever that rah-rah, and then you see some kids are just like, hey, leave me alone and I'm going to get it done. Now, do you see, is there a way like you talk to that kid versus the other kid? Like, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. There are some kids that you got to let them get that way. I mean, listen, it's embarrassing when people are throwing helmets and breaking helmets and punching walls. But here's the thing, Ant. If you don't want to throw your helmet after messing up in a big moment, if you don't want to punch the wall, like I want the guy who wants to do that, right? Because he's so pissed at himself. Or even better, if you can get him to the next level, he's pissed that he let his friends down, right? He's pissed that he let his teammates down. I don't want them throwing it, but if they go ahead and get angry and go behind the dugout and yell and curse in their glove or curse in their bag, fine. But you need to be over that, right? By the time if you just struck out and it's the 3rd out of the inning, right? You can't take that into the field with you, okay? You can scream, you can yell, you can do whatever you want, but you got to leave it alone, right? And some kids will never scream and yell, right? We had a kid when I was at Coach Ball's assistant in 2012. You probably know the name Jesse Berardi. I remember I asked Jesse one time after he struck out, because Jesse just grabbed the barrel of his bat and jogged back to the dugout like nothing happened. And I was like, it's like, Jess, do you ever get mad? And he's like, no. I'm like, I wanted to see if I can get him mad. I'm like, do you have a dog? I'm like, pretend like someone just kicked your dog, right? And he's like, Coach, I don't have a dog. And I was like, Jess, I'm like, do you have a girlfriend? He's like, no, I don't have a girlfriend. I'm like, all right. I knew his family. His dad was my dentist. I'm like, your mom, Patty, great lady. I'm like, let's just pretend like somebody like whatever cursed your mom out and you were standing right there. And he's like, nah, that wouldn't happen. So I'm like, what's going to get you mad? He's like, nothing on the baseball field, nothing. He's like, because I know that if I let myself get really mad, I'm not going to perform well. So Jesse didn't even need to be calmed down. Jesse had this internal, Charles was a nutcase.
He's a psychopath.
Wonderful player. Awesome teammate, stud ball player. But Charles needed to be reminded sometimes that Charles is great when he's allowing himself to be Charles, not when he's Charles on fire. Then he's not great. Then he's useless to everyone, right? So there are different ways to talk to different people. You know?
It is crazy. I mean, like I see it in here. I mean, like the way kids just navigate and operate, throughout the weight room and what motivates them, because that's at the end of the day, like that's what I try to find in here is how do I get a kid to be internally, accountable and have intent, as you were saying before, behind every rep. And that's always hard, to get that buy-in, to get a kid to just understand. But I think you've done obviously a great job over at Commack with that.
Thanks, man. We're trying.
But all right, so obviously you're going to be a presenter, at the summit. What are some things that people may, get from hearing you speak?
Hopefully one of the things that they understand is that, like, if you want to be really good at something, you can train your body. The body is capable of incredible things: speed, strength, muscular endurance, flexibility. I mean, you name it. You can get so much from just working with guys like you, working with a trainer, working on your own, right? But I think if you want to be great, if you want to be outstanding, I think you have to train your mind before you can even take your body to as far as it can go, right? So one of the things I hope people get from listening to me talk is that the mind is, in my opinion, more important than the body. It doesn't matter how big and fast and strong you are. If you can't speak to yourself positively, if you don't understand who you are as a person before even understanding yourself as an athlete, it's a dead end, right? You got to understand who you are as a person in order to understand who you are as an athlete, in order to put all the work that you're doing here to the proper use, right? So it's so much, for me, I came up with an acronym, I call it IMPROVE, right? I'm sure somebody else along the line has used this acronym, right? It's not patented or anything, it's just, and they're like different pillars, right? So each letter stands for something. I, inner confidence; M, mental awareness; P, positive mental attitude; R, retention, right? What are we supposed to remember? What are we supposed to forget? O is outlook; V is visualization; and E is emotional awareness. And these are the parts of the mindset game that when you are aware of all of them, you understand them all, and you can control them all in yourself. I think it puts you in the best spot for physical success.
Okay, no, that's great. But all right, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want to end the podcast with a lightning round.
Sure.
Questions, random questions. So first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh man, I love this game.
All right, so we'll start off easy. Favorite baseball player growing up and why?
Ozzie Smith.
I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
Shortstop, St. Louis Cardinals. Guy used to run onto the field, do a round-off backflip, and he had the best hands I've ever seen. Wow. I absolutely loved Ozzie Smith. I was a Mets fan, so Keith Hernandez was close, but Ozzie Smith was my guy.
Okay. All right. Tough question here. Toughest opponent or program you faced as a coach?
Massapequa.
Okay.
Massapequa was they're the cream of the crop. They're the guys.
Yeah. If you could coach one current MLB player today, who would it be and why?
Shohei. He'd make me look great.
Yeah,
I did that.
That was wild. He got on base 9 times.
He's out of control.
He is.
Out of control.
Favorite baseball movie?
Probably For Love of the Game.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
It's a little emotional and a little corny. Maybe it's like a love story. But that's probably it.
All right, emotional one slightly. One piece of advice you give to your younger self as a coach? They can see through the fake, right? Don't yell and scream if you're not a yellow screamer. Be you. Let them see you. Let them see who you really are, and you'll get more out of it. Yeah, I like that. What's your 2025 mantra or message to your players this year?
DMGB. Doesn't matter, get better. All right? We're going to blame it on, it's cold in March. We're going to blame it on the bad bounce. We're going to blame it on we don't play on turf. We don't play on grass. It doesn't matter, get better. Ump made a bad call, DMGB. Like, nobody cares. Get better.
I like it.
Yeah.
Current TV series you're watching?
Well, it's hard with all my children, right? I
Okay.
have 4 kids.
Yeah.
It's hard to get into it. My wife and I have completely different tastes in TV shows, but we're fighting our way through the John Candy documentary right now because that guy was awesome.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Any bucket list items?
I'd love to get back to Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. I mean, do you ever travel? I feel like it's tough as a teacher.
Not really. I mean, I coach a lot. I mean, we go upstate. We go camping. We go every summer in August. We go away as a family. We used to travel. Before I was married, I used to travel with my wife. She was my girlfriend then, but we traveled all the time. I would love to travel again, but I got a little while. My youngest daughter's only 7, so I got some time.
Okay. All right. Last question. Dream car.
I'm not a car guy. Okay. I'm good with my minivan. It's the best car I ever had.
All right. Minivan it is. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I'm excited for you to speak at the summit. I think people are going to get a ton out of it. So again, if you're interested in coming to the summit, go to the link in the bio. Saturday, November 22nd. We invite all teams, players, parents, coaches, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas. I don't care. I want to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you, Ant.